Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? We're here on celebrating Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and all this New Year stuff around and with very distinguished people around the globe. Today with us is Mru Patel, and I had remembered that when we start the collaboration with each other, Mru has telling me about 10 C's. But today I wanna has explanation about 10 D's. Mru, I really hope that you have 10 of them, and please do your visionary what's happening in this 2020 as a person, as I don't know, as a speaker around the globe, as distinguished people, and for sure, for me, it's pleasure to have you on the TV as well.
10 Ds as a visionary things that will disrupt the world because it's DTV, correct?
Yes, one of them is counted. Yes, go ahead.
So, okay, let's start with that. So, disruptive TV, disruptive media is one, okay? So, I see in the world, and hopefully Sergey will get there with some of our help. I see television like we know it in the next even 5 years will be on demand. People do not have time to sit there in front of the TV to take content that they want at their fingerprints when they want it. They want to see their content in small bits or in targeted content basis whenever they can. So if I'm sleeping at 2-3 o'clock, that's when I want to catch up with some of my content. So that's when I would want it. So disruptive media is where it's all at, okay? Talking about disruptive media, I will also get into what I call the disruptive tech, okay? The tech industry as a whole. So I've always mentioned, my background is Sun Microsystems in the 1990s. We created, as we said, the dot in .com, and our mantra was the network is the computer. So disruptive tech started, in my view, there when the .com and internet started and when Java started. What do we mean by disruptive tech? So we had the vision even in those days that any device should have Java on it, and based on that, you don't have to write your programs multiple times. You write it once, run it anywhere. Meaning, you don't have to port it to a Unix, to a mainframe, to a iOS, to an Android, to a TV, to a refrigerator, to a car, and all of that. You've written it in Java and away you go. That started that disruptive tech momentum. The second thing we said was the internet is going to be everywhere, anytime, any place, anywhere. The martini we used to call it, right? So in that, the internet side of things, we said, the world will be big fat pipes, and we're already seeing that, and I will cover that in another D perhaps. I haven't thought of your Ds, but I'm thinking whilst we are talking. 10 Ds, okay. Big fat pipes, huge data centers, and very thin clients. These are clients, we used to call them. We used to call them Java phone in those days. Fat pipes, we meant was big internet and fiber pipes that connected the data center. So we always said the data shouldn't stay here, it should be in the big server. So that's why you had Exodus and all these big data storage, cloud services is what we call it now, cloud computing. And from that now started the SaaS, the MaaS, the BaaS, all this as a service types of models, okay? So in that disruptive tech, 5G and 6G, which is the bottleneck of the internet, will become so fast that you will be able to not only do streaming of videos online in microseconds, downloading a whole movie, but you will be able to do AR and VR based discussions. So I could be talking to Sergey now, but he would look real as if he's sitting or standing in front of me and we're having a discussion in a room environment. So that's where the world is going. So your client services, your building viewings, apartment viewings, sales of products, all of these things will happen like that through the AR, VR disruptive technologies, because the fat pipes will be there. And then what else is missing? The other D is the big data centers, okay? The big data centers, today it takes too big because the chip technology, the memory technology, the storage technology, the cache, all of this is crunching down at a phenomenal pace. So who would have thought I've got 1 terabyte on a mobile today, when in the early days, 16K or 32K would run a whole payroll for a whole company in those days, right? I'm talking when I did my computing degrees in the 80s. Okay. So now you get nanotechnology coming in, you have quantum computing technology coming. So with that, a whole raft of computing and a whole raft of solutions will be delivered, because you'll have the fat pipes to do it, you'll have the microseconds of processing at the back, and you'll have nano computer chips that are embedded in here with the best security. So you'll be able to deliver almost any services, including virtual doctors to virtual anything, really. Okay, so that's where the other D is in the disruptive tech. Let's take data. Okay, I've always said, even in the 90s when internet started, I said data is king. Whoever has the best data, whoever has the best information and knowledge about their clients or their target audience, data is king. It's going to be worth more than a lot of the companies. He who has the best data is probably going to be worth more. Here's why I think so. If you think what Facebook, Amazon, Google, how these companies make most of their money is based on people like you, me, or whoever who go on their platforms, and that we are their products. If you think about it, we are the products. Only downside is they don't share that revenue with us. So people can sell to us using their platform, they make the money, but they don't share that revenue with us or the person who's helping to do it. All right. So why? Because they have that 2 billion plus people's data, what they like, what they see, what they post, what they eat, photographs, who their community is, all their friends, and all that. So that data is king. All right. The next one I'll go into, I've lost count how many I've done so far. No, I'm not counting whether it's 10. The next D on the back of that is data privacy, okay, and security and consent, okay. And for those of you who watch The Great Hack, okay, so the two people in there, Brittany Kaiser and Ravi Nayak, the lawyer who did the suing for Facebook and the data, are two people I know and friends, and Ravi I know through a childhood days, okay. So people will be stopped on how they're allowed to market. Today, GDPR is there, but GDPR, in my view, is bullshit, dare I say it, over Christmas, because, people, 99% of the people don't even look at it. They just click, I agree, and away it goes, okay? So data protection, data privacy, and consent-based stuff will now become at the forefront because of that whole Cambridge Analytics sale of data, how people tout to people, how people do target marketing and things like that without permission and consent is going to be a big, well, you've seen it. Trump is already trying to do this new law to unprotect the digital tech companies on how they rationalize and not even, how do I say, unbiasedly put the data across. Like Twitter blocks out certain parties and doesn't block out other parties. So because they hold the data, they can do that. So they're now becoming a publishing house, let alone even a lawyer to say this is correct and this is fake news or not. So all those hopefully will be taken away from them so people can sue them, because why would I want somebody to use my data to make money and say whether I'm right, wrong, or different? It's freedom of speech again, right? So that data privacy, freedom of speech, all that will be a huge thing. Where's the next D? 3D printing. Okay, sorry, not 3D, D3. All right, I give you give me that D, right? Okay, 3D printing. Why do I think this will go big? We've already got people doing buildings, a whole building printed on 3D, and that cost will come down significantly compared to traditional bricks, mortar, cement, and lots of human resources. So buildings right the way through to, if you look at even people who've broken their arms, legs, you can do custom made 3D printed arms, legs, whatever, to even internal body organs now they are doing with 3D printing, okay? So the cost of even that simple example of even health and lifestyle using 3D printing technologies, I think will be a future as well for sure. Okay, as we develop. Where's the next D? Christmas. Oh, driving. Okay, driving. How we drive and how we commute. So that whole driving, I mean, I have it down as transportation. So that whole driving and experience of driving is slowly going to be taken away from you, where you don't need to have intelligence. And what's going to happen is people are already, like the Teslas of the world, trialing out the driverless cars, driverless buses, driverless trains, things along those lines, because it's proven 80% of all accidents happens because of human error of some sort. So when you take nanotechnologies and quantum computing and fast processing computers that can very instantly make a decision and do recognition. So I'll put in another D there, in that disruptive tech thing, where even the screens will be able to say, hang on, there's a person going stop. This exists today, but it will be as fast as a human brain. Oh, there's an antelope going across, break. Oh, there is a little bollard over there, swerve. There's a stone there, or is a hole there, do this. And we'll be able to instantly make that decision through various AI ML based technologies. And that will make driverless automation happen a lot faster. Okay, talking about driverless automation, I'll add another D in that driverless automation is the D in the transportation side for that driverless way of cars to the hyperloop thing that are happening. Okay, so it'll be driverless. You can go from A to B. Why are you driving through hyperloop? You can do 700-800 kilometers per hour, I mean miles per hour. This is fast as a plane almost, right? Or faster even. So this technology will happen. So why are people driving there? Why are people taking a train there? Time is the most important wealth that anybody can have, so that disruptive technology will change things in the next 15-20 years, I reckon, for sure. Okay, in that driverless car, driverless transportation. What else can I think? I think I've done 9 or so. Diets. Let's take it another level. Diets. Okay, I'm doing certain types of diets, but that whole thing about diet and health and wellness comes from diet and your well-being. You can't enjoy life. We all work to enjoy life at the end of the day, but if you're going to be constantly sick, something's going to be wrong. So medicine with nano-based technologies and DNA, again, DNA based, that's another D, DNA based technologies will evolve. The last COVID ones, I don't know whether the Pfizer and the Moderna ones are to do with DNA based cure or vaccination on COVID. I'm not going to debate here whether it's good, bad, or ugly, but that's all to do with DNA. So DNA based technologies will come into play where you will not only get DNA based diet plans. So, in Indians, there's another D. In Indians, we have this thing called dosha, all right? D for dosha, all right? So, dosha based diets and dosha based medicine, dosha based weight loss, to dosha based everything. What this means is we believe in 5 main things: earth, wind, water, fire, that sort of thing, right? And based on this, you, the human being, your elements are defined. Meaning, if you are a fire and a wind person, then there are certain foods that will agree with you and certain foods will not agree with you. There are certain medicines that may agree with you, certain won't. So diets are a waste of time. So based on that dosha now, which has been going on for centuries in Indians, and that's how that Ayurveda medicine started. Now DNA based with the dosha Ayurveda stuff is happening based on you to have your private medicine based on you personally, or as they call genetic based medicine for not only preventative but even cures and things like that. And same with your diet and food plan as well, to keep you good, well balanced life and what everyone dreams of, to live more than 100 years old. Okay, so that can happen very easily as well. That's another D. What's another D? I can't think.
Let me add.
I think disruptive banking. We did that, right? The whole thing about disruptive banking.
Yeah.
and finance and disruptive wealth creation. All that is
DeFi,
happening.
all that stuff happening.
DeFi and all of that stuff. We talked about it so many times, that's why I forgot. So all that, I think, is key because, 50%, I've said it 5 years ago, 50% of banks as we know it on the high street will disappear. It's already happening. 50% of all these fund managers and investment managers and hedge funds and all that will look at different ways of doing it because there are other disruptive ways of making money, as has been proven with the crypto, DeFi, and now NFTs and things like that. So alternative ways of doing wealth management, bank management. Or as I said, why don't you become your own wealth and bank manager? Yeah. So based on you, I think data is king, as I said. So your own based token is where I see going, which we are developing.
Bro, let me add another D. I see very distinguished, very distinguished person. I'm talking about you, and you are the best D thinker or D visionaire on our DTV channel. It's really my pleasure, with big honor. Yes, I want to thank you to all this very interesting visionary, thinking or explaining all that. This around the globe for me is very interesting as well. I'm sure that for our viewers, also so interesting for myself.